Welcome back to the Piece of Us podcast. Hope everyone's having a great day today. I'm your host, Max. I have my mom and dad here, and we got Joe.
So, Crystal here.
This is Aaron, a.k.a. Dad.
A.k.a. Dad, a.k.a. or Joe, a.k.a. Aaron's brother from another mother.
That'll work.
That sounds close enough. So, Joe, I heard your hot water heater's been out.
Well, so Aaron and I have been doing a little bit of polar plunge stuff, and I just thought, hey, what better time to have my hot water heater go out than the middle of winter, so I don't need to go jump in a pool. I just
In
have
the shower, huh?
freezing cold water every morning for a little while now.
Was that a way to keep you doing the polar plunge, whether you wanted to or not?
The universe wanted me to.
I honestly, I have not done it recently. I need to get back to doing it. I definitely saw a benefit to it. I've just had some crazy mornings the last little bit, and so it's my New Year's resolution to get back
Did you
to
notice a difference, though? Like, with
Absolutely.
your day?
Okay, so the number one thing is alertness. Like, you are instantly alert. It's like 20 cups of coffee, the awakeness and alertness that you would have if you were to do that, but without the caffeine and potentially having problems medically from it.
I've been trying to kick a caffeine addiction for a while now, and the times that I am doing that, it's because some days, like when it's really cold, my water's even colder. Some days it's not as bad. But like when it's super cold or the times we've done the polar plunge, like I don't need caffeine that day at all. And I never miss it because it's like.
It wakes you
Wow,
up.
that's good.
So, Krista, you going to join us?
I'm good. I'm awake. I don't need caffeine.
I wake up with a
16
workout,
children.
so I'll pass on that.
Yeah, Max, you've been getting up every morning at 7 a.m. and working out.
Been trying.
I'm
really
very
proud of
impressed
you.
with that.
Thank you.
What is your advice to stick to a schedule? His other thing, so he plays video games at night. And I know you get off at a certain time every single night, and I didn't set your bedtime. So I'm curious, what are you doing and how are you doing that?
It's all self-discipline, I guess, because I mean, you gotta have motivation is a big one. I don't know if I could give a certain advice. I just when I see it's 10:30 at night, I'm off, and then because if I don't get off at 10:30, then I'm not getting up at 7 to work out.
So do you have a certain motivation, or what made you decide to do that?
I don't know. I'm getting close to being an adult, so I'm preparing. I want to start preparing myself better to be able to move out in the future. So I feel like you got to start now.
I love that. Can you teach your brothers and sisters that? I'm just kidding. Some of them do really good, but some struggle and learn it the hard way when they move out, and they're like, oh, yeah, Mom was telling me that for a reason to actually go to bed at night.
Isn't it amazing when you're kind of a kid? Your parents are so dumb. They don't really know what's going on. But then you hit a certain age and you realize, wow, my parents got really smart.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Still waiting for a few to figure that one out, but we're getting there. We're getting there. All right. Today we are going to go through the topics that you guys have suggested. So today is all about you and some of the questions that you guys had. You guys had some really good questions.
How many responses did we get on the first day of shouting that out? It was
Over 2,000? Over 3,000?
I can't remember, but it took me hours to just sort through all of them and kind of filter them into different types of concepts and topics.
I just remember you that morning. You're like, oh, there's 2,000. Here you go, Joe.
Joe.
Yay!
So Joe has sorted them out. If you have requested to be a guest, he does have those in a special folder. We are going to be reaching out sometime this week. We do have a special guest lined up for next week who is probably the most a really hard topic to talk about, but one of the most incredible persons I've met. So I'm really excited for her to be on here and for you guys to learn and grow from her, because she actually came out and talked with the kids this week about the topic, because I felt like it was that important, and the kids' lives were changed. And several of our kids came to us afterwards. And so I'm really excited about next week's, but it is a heavy topic, so it is kind of difficult to talk about. But so let's make this one fun and just,
While we're on the topic of talking about you guys, I would like to say that we are in talks to redesign our set here that we're sitting at. And my future hope is that we can have a monitor or something so that when we have remote guests that you'll be able to see them next to us, or I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure that out. Or maybe the monitor will face us and then we'll digitally put them up. I don't know.
Okay, love it. Let's jump into all these questions.
Let's go.
First one's from Connie. I was bullied all through public school, high school, and college. I was told I was ugly. It is still hard after 27 years of marriage when my husband tells me I'm beautiful to accept it. Do you have any advice?
You're not alone. So let me tell you a quick story about Crystal and I. So when we first started dating, Crystal felt, I think, the same way about herself.
I did.
And I would tell her all the time that she was beautiful. And she always had struggled with hearing that. And even to this day, after this many years of marriage, this long,
I can definitely relate to you.
she knows I think she's beautiful. But even now, she still struggles when I tell her, you're beautiful.
Yes.
Um,
So,
The other thing, and the story I wanted to tell, so I thought Crystal was so beautiful. When we first started dating, I would just sit and stare at her.
oh my gosh, drove me crazy.
It drove her bonkers. And I would just sit there and stare at her. And she's like, why are you staring at me? Look somewhere else. Look somewhere else.
Stop staring at me.
Stop staring at me. And that went on for so long. And I still stare at her when I can.
I know, and it's still awkward. It never, that never went away. I thought you were going to tell us your story, or that was the story.
Oh, well, no, I do have another story that I want to tell. So my recommendation, or something that I saw, I haven't tried this. I do have self-confidence issues, I think, as others probably do. I saw a recommendation for this specific, or an anecdote for this specific situation. So I saw a recommendation that, and this is going to sound weird, so hear me out all the way through before you judge
Oh
it.
no,
Okay, so I heard that you want to get a full standing mirror and put it in your bedroom. And what you're going to do is strip naked. And what you're going to do is stand in front of that mirror. And when you do this initially, it's going to be really difficult because I think some people, struggle to see their own beauty, or they don't see what other people are seeing. But from what I heard, that if you stand in front of that mirror and you do it a couple of minutes every day and try to do it for longer periods, that within a certain amount of time, and I don't remember what it was, a couple of weeks, whatnot, that you will start to get an appreciation for your own beauty, and you will start to see things in yourself that maybe other people are seeing that you didn't see, but you'll just gain an appreciation, and you'll gain a more comfortness in receiving compliments, and you'll feel better about yourself. So
you want to know what I did or what I do?
what do you do?
Aaron, I'm sorry, real quick. I just pictured you doing that.
What? Why would you picture that? Joe.
All right. All right.
Okay, that
Do we have another something that we can distract me with so I'm not
Okay.
visualizing that?
Okay, just
I can't even talk.
Just took a weird
Okay,
turn.
so
my first walk-off podcast.
well, let me turn this around. Okay, this is something that I do. I don't even know if I've actually shared this with Aaron, really, but
You have not,
I
because I'm
read this book called The High Five Habit, and it is incredible. I highly recommend that book, but the concept of it is to give yourself a high five every day. And what I mean by that is there's so many of us growing up that whenever you were given a high five, it was something positive, something good, right? Like you made a basket in basketball, so your teammate gives you a high five, or your teacher at school, you got a star and a high five with it, or whatever. And high fives have been known to have a positive interaction with it. And so what the book recommends is you get up every morning, and before you get in the shower, before you start your day, that you go over to your mirror and you give yourself a high five in the mirror. And it actually stimulates something in your brain, in your mind, that there's a positive interaction with yourself. It builds your self-confidence, and it helps you to start your day right. And if you're listening to this right now, I highly recommend try it tomorrow. Do it for 2 weeks straight. and just give yourself a high five and see if it helps turn your day around, because it made a big difference for me, because you take that second when you're doing that high five and you can't be sad during that moment because it just like instantly changes something, and it's the best way to start your day. So I literally start my days with a high five every morning. So if you've ever seen like my handprint on our mirror, that's why.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look for that now. So real quick,
Usually on my
I
side
just
of the
want to
verse.
shout out the High Five Habit, which Crystal was just talking about, is a book by Mel Robbins.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible. I actually have the Audible of it, and I've listened to it in the car when I was taking the kids to school and different things. And so I have a hard time sitting sometimes and just reading a book without being interrupted 50 million times by kids and this and that. And I'm like, oh, where was I? And now I forgot what I was reading. And so I personally do Audible books more than actually physically sitting and reading. But I know some people prefer,
I can agree
either
because my
way.
dyslexia works against me when I'm reading books. I can't read a book and understand what I read.
Really?
Yeah, I have to listen to it.
The audiobook helps definitely.
So what book have you guys read recently that you would recommend?
Well, I was just gonna say I would like to maybe start like a book club with you guys because I've come across a couple of books that I'm trying to read right now, and I don't know. I think it'd be cool to like start discussing them. Like if we all read the same book and then we discussed it, I think that'd be kind of cool.
I think the High Five Habit would be a good like starter book. I think it's really amazing. But Max, what about you?
Let me look.
Yeah.
You started reading.
They all pulled their phones out
Rich
to
Dad
look what
Poor
they've been
Dad,
reading.
didn't you?
I am in middle of that. I have 4 hours left on Rich Dad Poor Dad.
And what'd you
It's a
think of
good
that
book.
one?
It's a good book so far.
Max really, really said that his
My mindset on money changed as I read the book so far, or as I've listened to it. But
We should do a whole money mindset podcast because
Dave Ramsey is his total money
Yeah, he's so
makeover.
good.
There's a few things in there that, I know some financial people are like, maybe not this or that, but for your average person, most people, it's life changing. I actually, when I worked for a bank years ago, I worked for Wells Fargo. I actually went and bought like 30 copies of that book and was giving them because I had it on my desk and a copy of it. And everybody always came to go borrow that book from me. Like, oh, can I read this? Can I read this? So then I bought another one because everybody kept like borrowing it. And then I was like, all right. So I went out and found like 30 books. I went to Goodwill to, different Goodwills and stuff to make it
get him at a good
a
rate.
little less expensive. Go on a Saturday, it's half off. And I gave them out to all my coworkers, and it was so funny because even after I gave them all, they're like, "Hey, do you have another one? I want to give one to somebody else." Like, that's a book we definitely need to cover.
Oh, I love that.
2 books
I've
that I
never read
also
that.
loved reading were my favorite. They were just good books. Is Jumper and Hatchet. Those 2 series, favorite series of all time.
I got Max on the Jumper series.
I
It
know.
was good.
I read the Jumper books, all 4 of them, probably once a year at least.
Yeah, I think
They do
you
take a
listen
while to
that
get
one a
through,
lot.
but
Love them.
Yeah. So going back to your question, Connie, as far as like how do you learn to accept compliments from other people, I think it comes back to loving yourself first. And I know that's so much easier said than done. It is something that'll take years and years. And I don't know if it'll ever feel comfortable to truly get a compliment if you've gone through so much in your life. But I think as long as you love yourself and know that the people around you telling you you're beautiful, that they really feel that.
Can I ask you a
And-
question?
Yeah.
So you and Joe used to work in I'm not going to say the company, but you used to work at a real estate company. And in that company, it was a culture to do affirmations. And Crystal, you're huge in affirmations.
I'm huge in affirmations. I love affirmations. I love them. And
Do you feel like that helps you, or is there something in affirmations that has helped you with that as well?
I actually do. I do feel like that really helps. So every morning it was a real estate company, and he would have us all as a group say these affirmations. We pretty much had them memorized, and there was like 50 of them. But I do feel like I feel like there's so many times where we have so much negative self-talk in our own minds going on. And when you say those affirmations out loud or you read them or all of that and you're playing those constantly in your mind, it does start to change your mindset. And it definitely does start to have other things click. And then when someone says something to you, it doesn't sound so foreign because you're already saying it to yourself. What about you, Joe? What's your thoughts on that?
So over the last few years, kind of going through a lot of my mental health journey, depression was a really major issue for me. And it was just I kind of had this feeling of like, I'm just a worthless human being. And it was kind of like, all right, well, I felt bad about all these things. And I'm like, I'm thinking, nobody likes me, all these problems. But then I realized I do have some people that keep me around. And that must there must be a reason for that. And going through some different therapy things, at first I remember my therapist got a big whiteboard, didn't have me stand in front of it or anything.
Okay.
But, but went in and she's like, all right, name me 4 good things about you. I couldn't come up with anything. And then she's like, all right, well, I've heard you mention this, this, and this. You're an avid reader, so you're good at reading. Okay, you've mentioned that, something that you used to love to do was go kayaking. You haven't done it for a while, but you love doing that. So you're probably good at that. And we found a few things, and it was like, okay, so there are good things about you. Maybe not, you don't recognize it, but these are good things about you. Has anybody over the last week given you a compliment? And it's like, well, maybe somebody said this and somebody said that. So we put that on the whiteboard. And suddenly it was like, okay, other people see qualities in me that I don't see in myself. So I had to really start from there. I had to think about it. And every time somebody would give me a compliment, write it down.
Can I interject real quick? So I remember Joe came to me and at one point he said that his therapist had recommended that 3 or 4 of his friends write Joe a letter telling Joe what the amazing things that he did. Was that part of that?
It was a whole overarching thing where we did come back with those. And what was interesting is there were 3 or 4 people that had done those. And she was like, it was almost unanimous on these different qualities and things like that. And she's like, they wouldn't, all these random people, and some of these people preferably, but you guys don't ever hang out with them, never talk any of those things. And for different disparate groups to see the same qualities was like, wow, this has to actually be a good thing about me. And so then it was like, okay, I kind of started to acknowledge, okay, maybe there's a few things that are good about me, but I don't see it all. So I started, every time somebody complimented me, writing it down. And then I would go in and look at it and go, okay, well, do I believe this about myself? And at first, no, I didn't. But when it started coming, the same compliments coming from different people, I realized, okay, the quality exists. I just don't see it. So over time, I started realizing, oh, hey, yeah, I actually did this good, or, oh, I am actually good at this. But it was probably a year-long process. It didn't happen overnight for me. So, even just okay, hey, I don't look good. I always make the joke, I'm just your average Joe. I don't think that I'm all that good looking, whatever. But hey, there's some ladies in the comments.
I was like, that's not what the comments say.
Some of the comments.
And that's actually something that I started looking at it and realizing, okay, I'm not a 2 on a 1 to 10 scale. I'm a 7, right? I hope I'm not exaggerating my 7. Right. But it's one of those things where it was just, I had to actually write it down, acknowledge it, get some other people to add to my list. And then I started suddenly adding to my list myself, and my self-esteem is so much higher, and I'm actually able to take compliments now. But it took a lot of work and time to get to that point. But, it is one of those things. If somebody's giving you compliments consistently, especially if it's different people, it means it's true. The hard part is just taking that in.
I love that advice. So, Connie, I would highly recommend writing those compliments down. Every time your husband says that to you, write it down. And then I would be curious, write us back in, a couple months or whenever that time frame is for you. And I'm curious if that makes a big difference. But I love that advice.
And remember, beauty is both outwardly beautiful and inwardly beautiful.
I love that. The next question is from Lacey, and hers is trauma and foster care question. How do you maintain a successful marriage in the midst of having a crazy busy schedule with a lot of kids? And her second question is, how did you know Aaron was the one, and what advice would you give to those trying to find their future spouse? That's a really good question.
That's a really good one for this guy over here because we're trying to find him a spouse.
We need to find him one eventually. We need to find him a date too.
Interject real quick. I do agree with this because you guys don't spend. I don't know how you guys do it, but you guys don't spend like one-on-one time that I see very often. Like I I did it for you guys on your anniversary where I put you guys in your own hotel because you don't do that very often.
And he actually forced us to go on an
Yeah.
anniversary trip. Like he went and bought or rented the hotel with our Aunt Bonnie and physically handed us the room key, like, go get away for the night.
Because I don't understand how you guys do it. You guys,
So, well, a couple of things really quick.
I'll let you talk first.
Okay, because are you curious of my answer compared to yours?
I am, yeah.
We actually talked about this the other day, which is really funny because I don't remember what it was. It was either New Year's or Christmas Day, but it was like the kids were all off doing their own thing, enjoying their presents, enjoying their things. And Aaron and I sat there and looked at each other and we're like, now what? We actually said, now what? And he's like, well, we could go to the nail salon because he knows that I like doing that. And I was like, they're probably really busy because it's a holiday. And he's like, well, we could watch a movie. We could go play a board game. Like we were sitting there, and I'm not joking. We sat there talking about what do we do now? And it was just one day without the kids. And it scared me at first because I'm like, what does that mean, Aaron? When like all of our kids move out, we have no kids left at home. Like, what does that mean? Are we still going to have this connection? Are we still going to be? And then as I was thinking about it, you are truly, truly my best friend. And and I know that we will always find something to have fun with, something to keep that connection alive. And one thing that I feel like has always kept us going, even when we feel like our life around us is falling apart, or kids are crazy, or this or that happened, is we remember that we love each other. And sometimes it's one more than the other, for sure, in different moments. If like one's mad, but the other one loves them through it. And we try to always give each other the benefit of the doubt. And what I mean by that is like, if I say something that hurts his feelings, or he takes something one way, because I think in a lot of marriages, we can easily get offended by the other person. And so when Aaron will say something to me and I'm like, maybe that's not how he meant it. And I always ask for him to clarify. 9 times out of 10, it's not how he meant it. And I took it some crazy way because I was upset or hormonal that day or whatever the case is. But I don't know. I feel like, yeah. So I would say if you're trying to find your future spouse, make a list of qualities that are important to you. And
Are you talking to my therapist again? Literally, I have to go. I've been doing that, trying to come up with the list.
Really? Your
Yep.
therapist had you do that?
What's crazy to me is Crystal knew the day of our first date.
I did. Well, here's a couple of things. And I mean, obviously, it was a little bit over time as I saw, but I had very specific qualities that I would or wouldn't accept in my life. And I had gone through different things. I had seen my mom be in a very unhealthy relationship. I had saw, friends or family, aunts and uncles and different things. And I really saw, I don't know, a healthy relationship compared to an unhealthy relationship. And I knew going into it, abuse was at the top of my list of something that I wouldn't accept in my life, whether it was mental abuse, physical abuse. And I actually think I told Aaron that, I think probably on our second or third date. And I was like, listen, I have this list and I have these things. If you ever put your hands on me or our future kids or whatever the case is, like, I'm gone. Like, and there's no second chances. Like, you're done. You know what I mean? But I knew that that was a huge deal for me because I had seen physical abuse and even mental abuse. And so definitely making that list, understanding. My other thing and my biggest attraction to guys growing up or whatever, when they were good with kids. I don't know. I always wanted good father figure in my kid's life. And I had my brother Mark and my little sister Chelsea. They were really little when Aaron and I first started dating. And one day, and I didn't do this on purpose, but now looking back, I think it was a test, but he came to pick me up for a date and I wasn't quite ready. And so I went into my room and was doing my makeup, and I was taking longer than I know I should have. But when I came down the stairs, he was playing with Mark and Chelsea, and he had Mark on his shoulders and he's running around, and my brother's laughing and Chelsea's holding on to his leg. And I was like, marry this man. But I don't know, make a list of your qualities. And I think in that moment when I saw him playing with my brother and sisters, when I knew like for sure that he was the one. But I think I always kind of had that feeling. And I said it after my first date with him. I went into my sister and she's like, "How'd your date go?" And I said, "I'm going to marry him." And she was like, "You've been on one date. Is that really reasonable to say?" And I'm like, "We'll see." But I don't know. Something felt different about it.
After you told him about, you've got a list of qualities you want, if you were ever on a date, did you all of a sudden just like pull out a little notebook and act like you're checking something off? Just
Did
to kind of
not
mess
do
with him a
that.
little bit?
I'm like, no.
Just kind of give him a stern look, and then he's going to be like, was this good? Is this bad? What did I do?
It's kind of funny too because I felt like I was really shy when I was younger and or maybe not as self-confident or I don't know what you would call it, but a lot of dates. I went on one date to a high school dance and I maybe said 2 words the entire date. I'm not even joking. I don't even know how this date happened because I didn't talk the entire date. I was like silent. He probably was like, "What is going on?" Because I just never
Awkward.
talked. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. And when I was around Aaron, I nonstop talked. And I still nonstop talk. In fact, when I get quiet, he's like, "What's going on with you today?" Because I just feel so comfortable around you. And I feel like I can just like tell you stuff and I just like, and so I don't know.
So for me, I knew she was the one pretty early on. So we had been dating. It was our 2-month anniversary of dating. I had 2 friends in my life that I worked with. They were female friends. I had crushes on each of them at one point or another. And one of them was really pressuring me to break up with Crystal. And I don't know if it was a jealousy thing because I was spending now more time with Crystal than I was with her. I really don't know. But at the end of the day, like I had, excuse me, I had all of this pressure and I had to work on our 2-month anniversary. And so I went to work and, or maybe it was the day before our 2-month anniversary, but I went to work and it was the cutest thing. So I was working as a lot attendant at the time. And so I was, I would park across the street and I'd walk over to the dealership and then I was moving cars around and cleaning them and whatever. And Crystal with her mom came and decorated my car.
I made a big poster. I remember that actually.
And
See, I was even doing posters and being over the top back then, guys. It's just in my blood.
hey, posters do the trick. But so growing up, when I was in high school, I asked out 40 different girls and I got 40 different no's. I had never had a girl say yes to me before. And so I was really struggling with self-confidence and whatnot. And then for this beautiful, amazing girl that I had been dating for 2 months, would take the time to decorate my car. And my car was hugely important to me at the time, and she knew that. So for her to come and like put the effort into making my day so special and make me feel so special, it was just, I knew she was the one.
Aw.
Like, I mean, there was a ton of other things, but that was the deal breaker. I was thinking of breaking up with her the next day, and then that happened, and I was like, I can't let this one go. I gotta
That's so
hang.
tragic to you.
It was tragic, don't get me wrong, but I was like, I gotta hang on to this one for the rest of my life because she is going to treat me amazing, and that was important to me. I wanted a girl that was gonna love me for me and was gonna treat me right.
It just goes to show you too. I mean, you kept at it. Your persistence on asking girls, like you didn't after like number 26, you're like, all right, screw it. I'm just, I'm never going to be in a relationship. You kept pushing it and you finally ended up with a really good spouse. You've got a great, great spouse. I was the kid in high school that I literally had girls that were like, hey, I want to be on your list. Like, what list? The one that if you just need a date, you just pick a random girl and know she's going to date. And here I am single for the last 20 years. So your persistence paid off.
If you guys are having trouble and you've had a lot of no's, hang in there because your yes is coming. I promise you. I can tell you 100% your
I
yes.
thought you were
is
about to
coming.
say slide into Joe's DM. I thought for a second.
And then you can slide into Joe's
Be on his
DMs.
list. I don't know what.
There is that. There is that.
Joe
We
is
need-
creating a
We
new
need a new
list.
list. Who wants to be on the list?
A list of ones that will say yes. So
So how do you think we maintain a successful relationship though with all the busyness around this?
honestly, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We still struggle. Crystal and I still have our struggles. On New Year's when we were looking at each other like, what's next? Like there's a time where even after all of these years of being married, you're gonna come into question like, oh no, what's going on? But I was confident. I feel like you were the one lacking the confidence that day.
No, I just
But
needed to know I don't know. I'm a planner and I like goals and I like to kind of know what's coming up. And it was kind of like that moment where you're like, wait, what is next? But there's so many things though that like we take time at night, like after we put all the kids to bed and we'll watch a show together or we'll
and that's
sit
why
and
you don't
talk.
see it. It's because after we put all the kids
It's
to
after
bed.
all the kids are to bed and we get that one-on-one time. Right now we're
In all
studying
honesty, you
together.
have to basically wait until the kids are in bed because pretty much there are kids that are following you every moment that you're home or they're
Yes.
home.
Well, and it was funny because usually we wait for the kids to go to bed and then we're starting real estate school together. So we're like, oh, we'll sit in bed and study and talk and you know what I mean, that kind of thing, learn together. And we did it before the kids were in bed because they were all doing their own thing and we're like, oh, let's go do this early. And we got interrupted how many times?
I don't even know. I think at least each kid came in one time. So it was probably at least 12 times, maybe 15. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, definitely wait till they go to bed and then you don't get frustrated at all. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
We need to do better at it though.
But we also do trips at least once a year, though. Like we went on your birthday last year, and we got that one-on-one, and I think those are important too.
We've been trying to plan a trip to Vegas this month, and I'd really like to make that happen.
Right?
I'm saying it
do
in
that.
front of recording, so you can't say I didn't.
Now it's
You didn't say you didn't.
Cut.
Also, oh,
No,
oh,
I was just kidding.
I was like,
Oh.
you need to cut? What? There's no cutting. I'm just kidding. I was gonna say something that I totally just okay. Moving on to the next question. Max, do the kids at the kids' school ever talk about or find y'all's channel, and what do they say about it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was more prevalent in St. John's,
Yeah,
but
but you did have a couple of people come up to you at the new school.
yeah,
were going
no,
in
mainly
person?
Hallie and Hannah. Like, I
Oh.
don't think anyone ever came up to me, but I think they got more attention there than I did.
And then what did they say?
I don't know. They're just fans. They just, pictures or whatever.
Yeah. Does it make it like, is it kind of a weird, or is it just like, oh, hey, like just meeting? Because I know I love meeting viewers and people that, I call it the Keep It Crazy family, but because they're always so nice and just respectful and kind. And I don't know, I love it. But
Yeah, everyone was really respectful there. We didn't ever have any like thing like that. But yeah, we were just like friends with them. They were just like another friend.
Hannah's not here, so maybe she could tell the story. I do want to stress that we're just normal people, and we have feelings, and we go through our day just the same as anybody else. But I remember Hannah telling me a story of one time she was sitting in class, and this boy across the room just kept staring at her, like staring at her intently. And it's not like I find you attractive type thing. Like, oh, I know you, but where do I know you from? Or I don't remember. And she said that this kid literally stared at her the entire hour. And at the end of class, she just finally went up to him and was like, "Why are you staring at me?" And he's like, "I watch you at home." And he meant I watch your channel at home. But it
Sounds
was
so
like,
it was like weird
But it
to
was
see
like-
you in person, though.
exactly.
It is kind of a weird
It's
feeling.
interesting to see you in person because I can go home and I can see you. So just know that we're people too.
Okay, next one from Adam. Hey guys, sending love from Australia. My question for all of you is, what is one dream that you haven't yet fulfilled? Keep smiling. Cheers.
All right, I know his.
What is it?
Yours is you want a supercar one day. You want a Lamborghini or something,
I do want a Lamborghini.
And she gave you permission the other day.
No,
so
I
Yes,
did
I
not
did.
give him
And I have
permission.
video
I
proof.
did
I have
not.
video proof.
No, it got recorded over. Unless you pulled it off the camera.
I pulled it off the camera.
You
so-
did?
I did.
I
I
would
got a
hope you
copy
did.
of it.
Oh my
so
gosh. Okay.
I gotta save that.
No, no. Let me go back. He said, I'm thinking about selling the Tesla to get a Lamborghini or get something. And I said, no, I don't think we should do that because I love the Tesla and the Tesla has so much good to it. And I said, if you're going to do that, I'll keep the Tesla and you can go get whatever you want. But I meant I didn't want to sell the Tesla. I didn't mean go get whatever you want.
That's not how I
know.
took it. And
Yeah.
Max was in the room, and
I
that's
was
not
in the
how he
room.
took it either.
Oh my gosh.
I'll need to see this video and I'll be the arbiter on it.
Right. Joe can be the deciding.
Just so you guys know, I do love the Tesla. I can't
He's
sell
not
it.
selling
But
it.
I know that's one dream of yours.
I think one of my major bucket list items is to drive a supercar on the Autobahn in Germany.
Oh, I will do that with
I
you.
think that would be really fun. That would be really cool.
All right, Joe, what's a dream you have not fulfilled yet?
I have gotten to the point in life where I've realized that I want to find the one.
Oh, he wants to find the one.
Thought I had it years ago. No. I found the wrong one. But no, I would like a family of my own.
Okay, Max.
Well, I mean, I'm not that far into life so far,
Got
but
a lot of dreams to
yeah,
fulfill.
got a lot of dreams to fulfill. But I definitely want to buy a house. That's definitely up there in dreams.
Okay, so walk me through this real quick. What is buying a house to you? Like, why is it so important? Why is it so special?
I guess it's somewhere you could always go, and it's almost like a safe place, you know? It's somewhere that if all else fails, you have a house, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's how it feels. Like if you have a house, but you don't have a car, but you still have a house, you still have somewhere to live, somewhere to sleep, you know? So I think always having a house is a very good thing to have. I think it's a good dream for everyone to have.
And it is that accomplishment of something that you worked towards, you bought, you accomplished it.
That's kind of the American dream is the house,
Yeah.
the white picket fence, the 2.4 kids.
So you may get older, Max, but I want to put this out there, is that you are always welcome in my home.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I know that seems like it's an important thing for you, and I totally get the accomplishment part of it, but you'll always have a safe place in my home.
And I definitely seen this comment before. It's like, why are you trying to leave so quickly out of your parents' house? It's not that I'm trying to leave quickly. It's that, I feel like this is your house at the end of the day, and so I want to eventually have a house of my own, not just live under your house all the time,
I get that.
So I feel like at some point you gotta take it in your own and go get your own house, or an apartment, or you get it.
Just having goals and dreams.
Failure to launch does not apply to Max.
He is getting prepared to launch. I love it. Okay, so mine is kind of a little bit different. And I've always felt like there's something out there that's like I love our family. I love our life. Like I mean, I truly love everything that I have around me, but I've always felt like there's something missing, or there's something that I have yet to fulfill that I want to. And I did it until just recently. And you guys will understand a little bit more on next week's podcast. But there is a huge drug problem in America. And there are a lot of kids going through foster care and a lot of families being destroyed from addictions and from different things. And one of my unfulfilled dreams is to help in some kind of way when it comes to that. I really want families to become stronger. I would love for divorce rates to go down. I would love for less kids to be in foster care, So Harley wanted to come in. We had to cut cameras for just a minute. But my unfulfilled dream is in some way to help less kids be in foster care, more kids have families put together. I would love for divorce rate to go down. And I don't know, there's all these different things that I would just love, basically a happier world and help in some kind of way. And I don't know what that looks like yet. And I don't know where that dream is going to take me. And there was something said the other day that I was like, oh my gosh, like I would love to do that. But I haven't discussed it with Aaron, and obviously we'd have to come to a thing. But when all of our kids are like grown and out of the house and, that kind of thing, I would love to bring in teens who have addictions to drugs or different things or struggling with something and help them learn coping skills and learn how to just, be their best selves. And so that's my unfulfilled dream, but I think it's going to take a while to get there. So, yeah.
Love it.
All right, we're going to do one last question, and then we are going to be done.
I feel like I got dog hair all over me.
She just had a bath.
She just had, for those that can't see, she just had Harley just had a
bath and
grooming
a little trim.
done, and she literally like runs in here and she's now like showing off to all of us, hey, look how pretty I am.
So young. Like it made her look younger. Yeah, you look good.
It's funny, right as this question comes up, as we just talked about, but they said question or topic. Let's set Joe up on a date. He is the sweetest and most caring man. I'm single, 41, but live in Indiana. So are you open to other states, Joe?
Joe's number is 480.
I see I see a video series, Aaron, we can do on our channel of Joe hitting all the 50 states and to date, and
a date in all
hopefully
50 states.
A blind date. In all
hopefully
50
I don't
states.
have to get through all 50. We can stop at like 4 or something, so I don't have to rack up too many airline miles there.
All right, last and final question. I'm a teen mom and I have some struggles setting boundaries with my parents about my daughter. It's like they don't care because they always step over me. How can I be more strict with it without being really mean? By the way, I've been watching since 2018. I love you guys. Thanks for being there on my sad day. And this is from Madison.
Madison,
Oh,
you have come to
Madison.
the right place, because if there's anybody that can speak to this, it's the lady to my right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we were teen parents. I was a teen mom also. And we had really hard time setting boundaries, in particular with Aaron's mom. And she just wanted to be so involved. And now looking at it, I appreciate and loved that about her. At the time, it drove me crazy. I'm really honest. In fact, this is really messed up, but right after Hallie was born, and we were leaving the hospital, and I was having a hard time breastfeeding, and Aaron's mom had been concerned because she was like, she's not latching, you just need to feed her a bottle. And I said, I don't want to feed her a bottle, I want to do this. And her and I kind of had a disagreement back and forth, to where she called the hospital lactation specialist, and then the hospital, I don't know if they called DCS or whatever, but they called because it was reported that we weren't feeding our baby. And I was like, oh, that's the ultimate disrespect, because Hallie was very fed. And it was just this hard period. And it got so bad that Aaron's mom used to come and pick up Hallie and go into buy her all her winter clothes. And I was like, that's my job as a mom to buy her winter clothes. Why are you? And so we would rate. I mean, Hallie was the most spoiled little baby and didn't even know it, because I was constantly competing with my mother-in-law to be the better mom. And I think she felt like, these are a teen mom. She can't know and do as much as I could do. And so we were constantly going back and forth. But it finally came to a moment where I had a very open conversation with her. And again, I felt like you. I didn't want to be mean. I didn't want to be disrespectful. It was my mother-in-law. I was trying to be as respectful as I could, but still set boundaries. And we finally were able to have an open conversation where I told her, she raised an amazing kids, her, obviously my husband, her son is an amazing man, and she did a great job. And I loved that about her, but it was her time to be a grandparent. And I talked about what I loved about my grandparents with her, and how I loved that they, would be there for me, and that they would spoil me and like that kind of thing. But then she would leave the parenting, up to my mom. And so I just talked about what my expectations for a grandparent was. And I was able to set the boundaries that you're not in a mom position now, you're in a grandparent position, and how special that was. And I remember having this really great conversation about it. And yeah, I think it's just having that open conversation, but just how important it is for you to be in the mom role. And I told her, I know I'm a young mom. I know I'm probably going to make mistakes, but I need you to let me make those. And I need you to let me learn and grow from this because this is the most important role that I'll ever be in. And she was able to step back and realize that. I mean, obviously we still had, different boundary things that were set along the way, but it will work out. And yeah, just more instead of trying to come at it with like rules and boundaries, come at it from love and that, yeah, you just want to be the best mom that you
So
can
she
be.
was. You think Grandma was coming from really a good place? She had good intentions. It just.
I think
the
it comes
execution
back
was
to
a
what
little
I
much.
said earlier about relationships. And when you're in a relationship, your mother, and your whatnot, you have to step back and look at why somebody does something before you judge that they're doing something nefarious. They may have had the best intentions, but just went about it wrong or incorrectly. And everybody makes mistakes, and they may make a mistake in how they're going about it, but
And I think it's the biggest breakdown just in general in communities across, United States or even the world is communication is key. And a lot of us can assume like, oh, well, they don't think I'm a good parent, so they're stepping in and doing it. When in actuality, they just feel like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that this kid has the best life because I love my grandchild so much. And so it's kind of just figuring out what's going on. And I know some people don't have good intentions and you might have to be a little more stern with the boundaries, but every situation's a little bit different. All
All right,
right.
thank you guys for watching watching and listening to today's podcast, whatever you did.
All right. And where can we catch all the podcasts again?
Spotify, anywhere you could
Apple,
find
everywhere that you can
podcasts.
see a
Yeah.
podcast, or listen.
I am working on getting it up on crazypieces.com. We're still developing that website, but I am trying to post the podcasts on there as well. So definitely check out. And if you would like to be a guest or you have a topic that you want to talk to us about or want us to talk to, please go to crazypieces.com, click on podcasts, and at the bottom of the page, there's a form that you can fill out. And tell us your thoughts or ask your question. We really appreciate those.
And we do post every Tuesday, so
Every
we'll
Tuesday.
listen to you guys next time, or see you guys next time. I don't know.
Whatever you
Something
do.
like that. All right. Bye.
Peace.
Keep it crazy.
Peace.